All right, we welcome in the first ever guest to the Diamond Envy podcast, Lynnsie Elam, the pride of Chickasha. She is a catcher on the OU softball team. And Lynnsie, it seems like you've had an awesome offseason. Were you even the grand marshal in a parade back in Chickasha? Is that right?
Yes, I was. I got to go back to my hometown this summer and be the grand marshal, which was an honor, of course. It was super cool to get to do that and just represent Chickasha and hang out with kind of the current softball team. So it was a lot of fun.
One thing, Lynnsie, that I've noticed kind of hearing JT talk, kind of like hearing Patty talk, is they're not really shying away from the high expectations of your team this year. And I don't know what's been said inside the walls, but it's almost as if Patty has been telling the team, you have a chance to be the best softball team that OU's had, maybe the best softball team that the country has ever seen before. Is that the message that she's been saying this offseason? Has she been not shy about sharing those expectations that you have?
I would say that her expectations are always high, regardless if we're number one in the country or if we're not. I think her expectations stay the same, but she sometimes feeds off of our own expectations, and we know that we have a lot of talent. We don't feel pressure, but we know that we have the opportunity to potentially go down as one of the greatest softball teams ever. So I think it's us feeding off of each other's. They see that we want that, and they're going to push us to hopefully or potentially get what we want. So they're not like pushing on us like, you have to do this, you have to do this.
Right.
You have to be the best team. But they know our expectations, and they're just trying to push us to fulfill what we want.
What you saw throughout the offseason, was the work put in? Was the grind still there? Was the hunger still there after winning a national championship? Did you do everything necessary in the offseason to put yourself in position going into the season to kind of realize that?
Absolutely. And I don't think, obviously I've been here, this is my 5th year. Whether we won a national championship or not, we are grinding in the fall, and that doesn't change. I didn't feel that change. That kind of goes along with our championship mindset that we try to hold ourselves to, is whether we win, whether we lose, we want to live at a high standard. And I don't think that changes, and I don't think it will change with Coach. Whether you win a national championship or not, that standard will still be there.
Individually, you had an amazing 2021 season at the plate, and your batting average, ever since you got to OU, every single year has risen, slightly every single year, but it rose 53 points last year to 346. And that was off the most at bats in your career. What's the biggest reason why you had such a jump in batting average, why you had such a jump in the plate last season?
Yeah, I feel like there's a few different reasons. Obviously, maturing, growing our swing, getting stronger and everything like that. But I also think the mental aspect is something that has really taken off for me, and just working with JT on how to approach at bats, how to approach pitchers. And it's also the team. I mean, we push each other every single day to be better, and we say iron sharpens iron, and that's true for us because we compete in and out every single day at the field. So I think it has a lot to do with my team and just working with JT and trying to be the best player that I can for this team.
One of the biggest storylines for your team going into this year is what's it going to look like in the circle. And nobody knows that better on the team than you. Jordy Ball, though, when you talk about this team, you can't not mention her, a true freshman. Is the hype real?
Absolutely. That girl is a workhorse. She is an absolute stud. In and out. In the weight room, on the field, at the plate, she is awesome, and I'm very, very excited to see what she does this season and just watch her have fun and do what she does. But she's ready, and we're very excited to have her as one of our pitchers this year.
Yeah, and staying in the circle, I don't want to say that she's overlooked because she has a pretty incredible resume coming from North Texas, but we got to talk about Hope as well. I mean, Hope's going to be a main contributor for this team as well. What have you seen from her that gives you a lot of confidence?
Absolutely. I mean, every year at North Texas, she gave us a game. Every single time we played North Texas, we knew we were going to face her, and we knew it was going to be tough. We didn't quite know what she brought, obviously, but now that we have her with us, we can see why it was so tough to hit her. So we're super excited to her. She has continued to learn and try to get better, and it's crazy to see if you came to our scrimmages, it might look like a super regional game or something. I mean, it gets pretty intense with our pitching staff pushing our hitters pushing our pitching staff. So they're awesome. I'm excited to see them take the field and see them go this season.
This is probably going to sound corny, so sorry if it does. But one of the main reasons why I want to start the Diamond Envy podcast and sit around OU softball is there was a moment last year, and it was the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma State. And I had certainly been to OU softball games before, but I see during a pitching change, you and the rest of your teammates come out of the dugout, and you're kind of leaving chants on with the fans. And it was this realization for me of, NIL has really changed a lot of college sports. It's changed college football, it's changed college basketball, and those sports are fine. Those sports are still great. But I feel like even though college sports in its entirety has changed more than it's ever have, there's still the purity of college softball. It's still all about team. Individual hasn't changed it that much. Do you feel, because even with this big change, I still feel like college softball is still the game that it was 5, 10, 15 years ago with all the passion that's there?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, obviously the Pro League is growing and that is starting to take off, which is super exciting for college softball players and young softball players. But I mean, the World Series is the top of the top, the postseason, Big 12 championships, SEC championships, PAC, they're all the top of the top. So I agree with that college softball has been able to hold on to that purity of passion and just fighting for each other and not necessarily worrying about money or yourselves or personal success. But I think that also has a lot to do with our program and kind of how we're run around here and how we're taught to fight for each other and keep that other stuff out.
You're about to hop on a flight here in a few hours and head out to the West Coast and head out to California. And I understand that you're there to win softball games, but how fun are these road trips early on in the season?
They are extremely fun. Like the bus rides, being at the airport, we always get to do a few things. Obviously, COVID kind of messed that up, but when we go on trips, we go out to dinner some, go walk on the beach or just do something to kind of get out and see everywhere we're at. So it's a lot of bonding. We get to room with new people every week, so that's something I'm super excited about. I'm rooming with Jada Coleman this week, so you'll be seeing some TikToks or some crazy stuff. I'm super pumped. But yeah, the preseason road trips, they lock us in, get ready for conference, but they're always super fun, very intense, obviously, but we have a good time as we're doing it.
I love that you have a new roommate every single week, but I got to ask, who's the best to sit next to you on a plane during a long flight?
Oh, I would say everybody's going to have their different answer. Some people like to go to sleep, so if you're loud, don't be by them. I like to watch movies or do homework, so whoever's got the iPad out is who I'm trying to sit by. But I think it depends on who you are and what you prefer to do on those plane rides.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see all the Sooner fans out on the West Coast come to the games this weekend. And I know this wasn't a surprise to you. It wasn't a surprise to anyone. But single game tickets go on sale yesterday, and then in a matter of minutes, they're just sold out. You're having fall scrimmages, and they're being sold out. It's crazy. It's nuts, all the attention, all the excitement around this program right now. What's that like? Because even when you came into the program, the excitement was high, but I kind of feel like, Lynnsie, it's at a level that it's never been at before.
I think it has definitely grown every year I've been here. And I mean, our games sold out my freshman year, but they keep selling out faster as the years go. But it's awesome. I mean, the support that we get, seriously, all around the country. I mean, we go play in California, we play in Houston, we play everywhere, and we have OU fans. So it's amazing the support that our fans give us all across the country, and especially at home. I mean, our home games are something special, and I think that's just another reason why this new stadium is going to be awesome, because we'll get to have more fans and have even a larger experience. But the Sooner fans really bring it no matter where we're at every single game, and we're so appreciative of them and their support of us at every place we're playing.
Well, you're going to get to know Jada even better than you thought that you knew her before. She actually came on our radio station on Tuesday, and one of the things that she shared is, she came into the program as a left-handed shortstop. Well, there's just one problem. Grace Lyons is already at shortstop, and in my humble opinion, she's the best in the game. So what she did is, she wanted to win a national championship. So she converts to outfield, and she's one of the most exciting, one of the best center fielders in the game. It seems like that's not just Jada, though. There is that kind of mindset with the program and this team right now is, yeah, maybe I came in at a certain position and maybe I'm used to a certain number of at-bats or whatever it may be, but it really feels like everyone is just in it for the best of the team. Everyone's in it to win a national championship, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know every team or most teams are going through this, but we're going to all be pretty stacked for a couple of years just with COVID and having the extra year, getting a full class back for most teams. And I think you could have taken it a couple different ways, but we tried to take it as we have a chance to be some of the most talented teams in Oklahoma, maybe in softball history. And we want to be selfless with that. We don't want to self-destruct ourselves, being selfish and wanting personal success. But if we can all figure out our role, wherever it is, whether we got to move a position or change how we're used to playing a little bit, we want to fill whatever role is going to help our team win the most. And I think that's something last year that was super special about us. And I see it again this year is that we're not selfish players. We cheer on the people at our same position, but when we get the opportunity, we want to make sure that we're ready to give our team everything that we have in those moments.
So we talked about Jordy, we talked about Hope, and there's just so many players returning from last year's squad that are all noticeable faces. Who do we need to talk more about going into this year? Who's someone that maybe is – I mean, there's so many good players right now, and the depth is incredible. But maybe who's going to surprise this year that we're not talking enough about right now?
Who's going to surprise us? I would say Alyssa Brito should be somebody we can talk about as well. I mean, obviously we have 9 positions on the field, and you can only have so many players play, but – she's going to be somebody to look out for. She had an awesome year at Oregon, and she's continuing to learn. She's a hard worker, and that girl fights every single day and competes. So I'm very, very excited to see what she does this year as well.
What are your personal goals for 2022? I know you want to win another national championship and go out on top. You probably like to raise your batting average and another 53 points like you did last year, but kind of what are you personally looking to do this season?
I mean, ultimately I'm looking to continue showing people who I play for and sharing Jesus with those around us. That's my ultimate goal. I mean, this might sound crazy, but I'm just here to work hard. I'm trying to give my team everything I have. I'm trying to have no regrets after this last year. So I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have any specific goals. I'm just going to go out there and give my team everything I have, and we'll see what happens from there.
All right, last question. You're from Chickasha. The majority of my life, I grew up in Chickasha as well. So if we're talking about you get to eat at one place, we're talking J&W, we're talking Jake's Rib. I mean, you know the lay of the land out there. One meal in Chickasha, what are you going with?
J&W, definitely.
Yes,
but the issue is, do we do breakfast or lunch or both? Because they're
all
awesome.
Of them. Why not at the same time? Everyone talks about great brunch spots, but why can't you just mix a chili dog and biscuits and gravy or something at J&W Grill? It can happen.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll have a whole feast there. We might need a shower afterwards, but I want a whole feast. That place is awesome.
There you go. She's catcher Lynnsie Elam, senior from Chickasha, Oklahoma. Lynnsie, thank you so much. The first ever guest of the Diamond Envy podcast. Good luck this season and go win another national championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.